so you started out, you blew your load right away, and then you're scrambling with it.
I'm a commander player. I'm the one that plays my general just before a board wipe. I'm a poison killer. I'm the one who takes you out even with 1,000 life. Uh-huh. It's CommanderSmiths here to record again, and then I can keep going and going and going.
So I know it's Foo Fighters.
Correct.
I don't know. I don't actually know the song.
It's my favorite Foo Fighters song.
Well, now I feel like we're really good friends.
We're cousins, Larry. Come on, you should know this.
God, why can't you pick like a more popular Foo Fighters song, like better
Times
one?
Like these?
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
better one.
Yeah,
my
better
favorite? One. Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hero is an amazing Foo Fighters song.
My favorite Foo Fighters song, a better one.
Here's
I'm not mad.
Welcome to the CommanderSmiths, where
very disappointed.
Adam's favorite band is Foo Fighters.
Mine and my wife's.
And
tattoos to prove it.
It is not my favorite band. So,
but you enjoyed the concert.
I enjoyed the concert a couple years back. Yeah, but that was because Rise Against opened for them, and that was really enjoyable.
And you were holding back teens from mosh pitting all over us.
Yeah, because I'm a nice guy like that.
You are. You were our buffer.
I was your hero that night.
You were
the Foo Fighters hero. Yeah.
Touche. Anyways, welcome to CommanderSmiths.
Yeah, I'm Lowry Smith.
I am Adam Smith.
And, yeah. No, we're totally cousins, right?
I wasn't sure if we were going to get that or not.
All right.
I was going to let you do that one. This is episode number 10.
Wow, double digits.
We did it.
Already.
We're done now. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
I feel like we could go on forever.
Well, it's been fun. I've been enjoying doing this. It's kind of crazy. It's already at 10. Well, kind of.
It goes quick.
What we repeat a couple episodes because it didn't work.
Yeah, so technically we have 12.
12, 13, whatever.
So you got that work up to it, and that's
so we got some good practice going.
No, jinx on the
Are we follow us on Twitter, CommanderSmiths?
Or Gmail us at
not follow us on Twitter. Tweet us at Twitter. Or you can follow us on Twitter, but tweet at us. We are tweeting. No, we're gonna twat on it again.
No, we're not gonna do that.
But we are putting all our just in case you wanted to see our specs or cards that we talked about during the episode. It is also on our Twitter. So if you're following us on there, you actually will, after the episode posts on that little tweet, has all the specs and everything on it too. So it's another place to get it.
We type up all the speculation cards or just the spoiled cards that we're talking about. It just makes it a lot easier for you to be able to find what the cards that we've talked about if you're driving or walking somewhere.
Yeah. Biking.
Who does that? I don't know.
And then Larry actually has hyperlinked a lot of them so that at least on Podbean, I don't think on Apple it works that
so Podbean it'll hyperlink and then you can click on it. It'll just bring you to the card. It doesn't work on Twitter either, the hyperlinks, but it'll at least give you an idea of where to look on cards that we've talked about.
And so you said YouTube, so then you can also email us at CommanderSmiths@gmail.
I said that one. I didn't say YouTube. Okay. But you can find us on YouTube or Apple or
subscribe us on YouTube. Next week we should be doing our second installment of Dueling Boxes.
Yeah. Battle Boxes? We could change it to
that. Battle of the Boxes.
We could call it Battle Boxes and then put them in a ring and have it be like Battle Bots, like punching each other and then like I don't know how we'd
Rock'em Sock'ems.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking with the punching?
Yeah, I was. What's Battle Bots?
Isn't that the one with the Comedy Central show or whatever where people built the machines that you would
That
fight?
might be it. Yeah, where they had like chainsaws on the front of them and run into other remote control. That'd be way better if we did that with boxes.
With our magic cards before we even opened them.
Dude, get some Legos together, construct them, and put our boxes on top of it, run into each other like bumper cars.
I just think it's funny that you say
paper cuts.
Our boxes were never mind. Anyways,
I'm a male.
Are you? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We are
pretty sure
as he itches down there. Anyways,
in the area.
This episode,
checking.
We have it into 2 segments. We actually just got done with a
pre-release. Yeah, today. Dominaria pre-release.
Yep. Oh, by the way, found out this week that you are saying Dominaria correctly, and I am saying it wrong by saying Dominaria. It is Dominaria.
How do we know that?
One of the other podcasts that I listened to, I don't remember which one it was. They had one of the judges on, and the judge actually clarified the way that they actually are something.
Is there a judge ruling? No, is there a judge ruling on how to say the word?
Pronunciation. No, but so that's what I heard from their podcast that they said that Dominaria, how I was saying it, is kind of like Minnesotan, where it's Dominaria, but Dominaria is the proper way to say it. So you've been saying it right.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Way to go, buddy.
I'm glad that you
speaking of that,
helped me out there.
One other thing that we figured out this week with rule change, this is going to be a little complicated to explain, but anyways, with damage being done with... so the wording on the newer cards in Dominaria, they say like... Target.
Target permanent.
Or just target.
Yeah. So deal 3 damage to a target.
Yeah.
Instead of creature or player.
The lightning bolt kind of thing.
Yeah. And so what that is doing is the rule change happens with planeswalkers.
Yep.
So if anything states like creature or player, that really is stating now it's errata to target.
Yeah.
Now what they're going to be doing. But
before you used to be able to, like, let's say with Earthquake, if you did X damage, 5 damage to all creatures and players,
you could redirect,
put it to your Planeswalker. Now that wouldn't be the case because it's saying creatures or players. It's not saying all target, and so it's, So it's actually
there's a difference between creature and player and creature or player.
Which this should have been the rule from the get-go.
They should have changed this a decade ago. Yeah, so, I agree.
So that's the one big rule thing that I learned about this week, and we kind of talked about it.
There's something about the mana pool going away as well. But functionally, nothing has changed. I don't think you need to worry about anything. It's just... I think it's to simplify it for newer players.
Yep, I think that's what they're totally doing, is just making it easier.
I mean, because there isn't a physical pool where I could put my mana... And that'd be great. Like just a little.
You could Scrooge McDuck it in there.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Just throw your commander in there and can swim around.
Have you seen that Family Guy episode where Peter fills...
No, I haven't.
So he fills up his chamber like with all the gold and stuff like that, and then he tries to Scrooge McDuck it in there, and he like breaks his bones. He's like, that is not how it's supposed to happen. It's like,
I actually haven't seen that one. I have seen that one. That's pretty funny.
That cartoon was completely false. I don't know if that's the exact quotes, but that was, anyways.
That's really funny.
So segment 1, we're going to kind of talk about our pre-release, how all that went, and then segment 2, we're
try and go to masterpieces that were a special set released within other sets.
And the only reason we're kind of talking about that is they've been kind of going bonkers lately. So we're kind of...
It's kind of the buzz right now, and since everybody's doing it, I feel like we should copy them.
Well, and it's kind of it is our spec segment because we're
it'll just be the speculation
part
segment
of the things that we think you should spec into or get into.
Yeah.
But first, let's talk about our
pre-release preview. Was that too loud? I don't know.
It doesn't look like you hit red there, but I think we're good. So how'd your pre-release preview go, Lowry?
Perfect. No, not like you. You were perfect. You were 4-0. I went 3-1.
You lost your last game late though, so it was
Yeah, so I was 2-0. It was just 4 rounds, and then we. So I played like green-white.
I was black-white.
You were black-white.
Yep.
That's pretty.
Well, that's actually
PC of you.
The last nice. The last guy I went against was a black-white deck too. So.
Was it? Yeah, and I can talk about like in my second match, that guy was black-white, and that was a solid deck that I was playing against.
So overall, good experience with it. I love the pre-release.
Pre-releases in general are just a lot of fun. You go in there, there shouldn't be a lot of pressure in my mind. Like you're just going to kind of play with new cards, figure them out. It's new for everybody.
I like it because it's not like modern. You get in there, and we've talked about it many times. The turn 2,
it's a race to turn 4. See if you got what's going on.
This is just more kind of. It has that grinded out feel like Commander a little bit. It's not Commander, but it takes longer. Yeah. Although some of my games were done by
over
turn
pretty
4.
Quick. Yeah, if you get mana screwed, like it's just It's brutal in this. I can definitely agree.
Yeah. Now, out of the group, everybody in our group, so we had 5 of us. Yep, 5 of us.
Yeah, there was 5 in our group.
Everybody pulled a freaking $20 plus card, except for me.
Yeah, but you won 4-0, and you
smallest
won,
violin here.
you won 8 packs, and you still
I still didn't
get anything.
Yeah, stuff. But yeah, so one of our buddies, Jeremy pulled a Karn.
Yeah, and the last pre-release he went to was Fate Reforged, and he pulled Ugin in that one.
He got Ugin.
Dude's luckier than a Lucky Charm.
Luckier than
a leprechaun, a rabbit's foot.
A horseshoe. What else?
I don't know. Penny found on the ground.
It doesn't have to be heads?
I never played that way. Does it have to be heads up?
I think it's supposed to be heads up or tails.
Maybe that's why it never worked.
Yeah.
I'll start figuring that out. Just start throwing pennies down in the park and walk by. Oh, penny!
So he pulled a Karn. I would say Trombley probably had the best pulls, maybe? Or no, I guess Karn. No, he got
Karn
Mox.
was the best one. Oh, he did get a Mox Amber.
Yeah, Mox Amber
Trombley
along
did.
with...
He got a foil Jaya Ballard.
And then, was that it?
A foil Bladewing. I don't remember the first name. Varric's Bladewing.
Oh, okay. So he had a pretty good pull. Lowry pulled a...
History of Benalia foil for the promo.
And then Mark, on his 1 pack he won, he got Scarab Guide. Cause he
he was able to pull something. Because when it's pre-release, the store only has so much of the newer product that's unreleased, and so anybody that didn't do so well, they got to just pick a random standard pack. And he pulled Scarab God, which is freaking so good.
You're like, you got to make a commander deck now with that, and Mark is just getting into his 1 commander deck, and this would be a nice one to make if he makes that one. Yeah. So
I'm excited for him.
Yeah, so it was fun. I didn't get a lot of good cards, but that's not normally how...
But you went 4-0.
Yeah.
And so, how did you do it?
Well, so the stuff that I got in my pack openings, the rares, I had Verdant Force, which that's such a...
Yeah, you can't...
Along with Thorn Elemental, that'd be a little tough to get that late. It'd all have to be mono ramp stuff.
Yeah.
But I picked up 2 Yawgmoth's Vile Offering, and I was thinking at first that was going to be in there.
What's that one do? Is that one of those?
So it's the sorcery, legendary
sorcery.
It's 1 black and 4 colorless. I don't think we ever talked about this one. We picked this one wasn't one of the better ones, but it's put up to 1 target creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard onto the battlefield, from a graveyard, not just yours, under your control. Destroy up to 1 other target creature or planeswalker, then you exile it. So originally I was like, I'm going to put this in there. Black was my strongest. I had the most, I had a couple rares in there. But then I realized I only had 2 legendary creatures.
You know what? And that's what I would say I had the problem with. We both pulled the Weatherlight artifact, which is 4 mana. It's a 4/5 flying. You have to crew it for 3. And whenever it deals damage, you reveal the top 5 cards, and you get to put a... Is it a historic card
into your hand?
I think I hit 2 or 3 times with Weatherlight.
I did it once
and got no advantage.
I was already had the game won by that point, so it gave me 1 card, but it wasn't.
But did it get you a card? It didn't even get me a card.
Oh, yeah, it got me.
And I hit 2 or 3 times.
It got me a Saga, I think, like that. I think is what it got me. Or no, it got me the star of, I would say, pre-released was the On Sarah's Wings.
Yeah, I had that played against me, and it scared the crap out of me.
That, I think every time I played that, I won the game. Because what it does, it's 3 colorless, 1 white. It's a legendary enchantment aura. Enchant creature is a legendary. So I technically would have 4, because I got 2 of these. It gets 1/1 flying, vigilance, and lifelink. So there's a few times, at least 2 games, where I was knocked down to 5 to 4 life, 5 or 6 life,
and then you play that swing, and
I just gained it all back, and it was pretty ridiculous.
I didn't get one of those, but when I saw it, when it was played against me in my second match, I was like, holy, I didn't know how to deal with it. I had Weatherlight on the battlefield. It was going to survive against the 4/4 version of all that.
Yeah.
But I would have just fallen behind because he was starting to get ahead on pressure. And
the funny thing, the only time I used this card and I had it in there and it won me the last game, the one that get 4-0, was Ice Manipulator. I love that they brought that back. But I knew that was going to be good if I could get it out. But I held this guy down. He had a 6/6, the 6/6 flyer.
from the saga
that he has to sacrifice a creature each turn. So I just kept tapping it down. He kept sacking stuff. He had enough to sack, so it actually didn't.
Yeah, before it comes out, you get 4 01s.
And he went through those, and then he went through 2 other creatures, and then he went through that fungus, or the thallid that when it dies it creates a sapperling. So he went through 8 creatures. But see, he had so much more life than I did, and that was the game that he got me down to 4, and then I got that on Sarah's Wings, and I just gained all my life
started
back.
Coming back.
Yeah, and so he couldn't stop it. So yeah, it was interesting. So how first game? We were both 3, or the first 2 matches we were both 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like super amazing at like the competition that I had.
You had a kid?
So yeah, it was the first one. I was like, hey, how's it going? You know, he's like, oh, it's my first pre-release. You know, he's literally 6th grade, pretty sure. And I was like, oh, how long have you been playing? And he's like, I started back in the fall. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, no.
and I was like, don't worry about it. Just have fun. You know, that's basically what these pre-releases for. Don't worry about it. You know, we'll work together. And so he was playing a 3-color deck
for a person that hasn't been playing that.
Yeah, and I you know, because I don't know what he was playing. You know, maybe he was a lot better than I thought, but he wasn't. And you know, he just got mana screwed the 2 games, and I just kind of rolled them.
He gave him some pointers though, because
afterwards, and I was like, oh, what are you playing with? And he just pulled out the Lich's Mastery, and I was like, oh, that's you should probably not be playing that.
Didn't you say he had Dreadshade too?
And then he had Dreadshade. So like a bunch of like really heavy mana costed in a 3-color deck. And I think he had like a couple, like some white and red in there too. And I was just like, you shouldn't. He's like, oh, I just wanted to do it, you know, play a bunch of my
every
power
card I have. That's awesome.
And then, you know, I was like, well, I'm gonna look like a dickhead if I tell him like, no, you probably shouldn't play it that way, because I just got done telling him, yeah, it's just fun. Don't worry about it.
And then you're like,
and then I said, if I turn around, but you shouldn't do that because that's bad. I couldn't, you know, you can't do that. So I was just like, yeah, I think it'll be fun. Get it working. See if you can make it work. I didn't see him or talk with him afterwards to see how he did, but he didn't play a whole ton of cards when we were playing, just because he was I think he was pretty mana screwed. Like, just didn't have the colors. So
you 2-0'd him then?
Yeah, I mean, with my green-white, I was able to just play some, you know, commons that were, you know, 4 mana 4/4s, and it just ended the game pretty quick.
Yeah. My first round, I played a really old dude.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Which he is like, oh yeah, Icy Manipulator, because he had my Icy Manipulator. He's like, this brings me back to when I started playing Magic in the 90s. I'm like, yeah, that's when I played too, whatever. But I'm not kidding. This guy took so long on his turns. We finished game 1 with 10 minutes to go in the whole match. That
is a long. Yeah. I know you said it took a long time, but
and then I felt terrible because, like, not terrible, but he had me beat that first game. He had that 7/7 guy that a lot of you guys had.
Traxos?
Yeah, Traxos.
Traxos was bomb.
Yeah, so he had him, and he could have killed me, like, all out attacking, but he was scared of Yargle.
Yargle's dangerous, the 9/3.
But he could have just all out attacked. He had an Icy Manipulator out. He could have tapped me out, but he was more focused on me attacking him. I was down to 6 life. He could have easily killed... Well, actually, not easily. It would have got me perfectly at 0 if he would have just Icy Manipulator and used it right. Anyways, he didn't. I ended up getting on Sarah's Wings, gained my life back flying. He had no flyers, so I just went over the top of him and killed him. Yeah. I actually killed him with Yargle at the end. I think Yargle turned into a...
So he was worried about the right card.
Yeah,
just needed to be more aggressive.
Well, that was the hard thing. He had Icy Manipulator. I had to spread out my enchant creatures on all... I had 3 creatures
you couldn't build them up?
Yeah, because he could just tap one out. So, actually, no, I take that back. It was Uragos, or the Hypnotic Sphincter guy.
Sphincter. That was back when we were teenagers. What are you doing? Yeah, so we called it Hippie Sphincter back in the day, because we were...
He won my first game, that game, and then he won me the last game that I played at the very end of the match. But he had no cards, and that was the one where
so it allowed you to draw?
Yeah, I started with that and Yargle in my hand and 5 land or whatever. And I was like, I don't like taking mulligans.
Yargle's just so freaking funny.
Yeah, I know. But then I drew into 4 lands. So my only cards were those 2 for the first 4 turns. Oof. And so he was just, that's why I was down so low.
Got you down pretty far.
Yeah.
And then once you played Yargle, he was like, whoa. Yeah.
Well, then he would tap him down. So then I was hitting him. He had no hand left. And then I was drawing cards.
Okay.
And that's how I ended up winning. Anyways, then the next game, I beat him. But it took...
You had 10 minutes, so you had to beat him.
It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe... I was like, I don't ever want to play this guy again. It was so... I was worried we were going to have to tie. He was a nice guy. He seemed
like a nice old man.
He was a nice guy. Just like on turn 2, you only have X amount of options. There shouldn't be that many options. And he took 5 minutes just to do turn 2. So, but anyways, that was my first match. Second match, I went 2-0 as well. Went against a kid, so same thing as you.
Yeah, that kind of happens.
3-color. Maybe it was the same. No, did the kid? Maybe it was the same kid. I don't know.
Did he?
No, with the hair thing.
No, that's not how. I don't think that's how it works. Like winners go to the top.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
People that lose go to the second one.
You're right.
I was going to call them losers, but
I 2-0'd him as well. He was playing green, red, I believe. Green, red.
Which felt like a pretty powerful combination today. Like,
nothing stood out with that match so much. But how'd your second match go?
I feel like the second match was pretty fun one. That was the black-white deck that I was playing against, and the first one he just like attritioned me out. So like I was just playing green-white, so mostly green, and so I was just playing 4 4s for 4, 2 2s for 2, but like. I was playing a lot of kicker cards, so they had the ability to get bigger later on in the game.
Yeah.
But like this one where I just basically had to trade all the time, where he had enough removal, and then he had enough like card draw to just like beat me in the first game.
So it was your first. Yeah,
and then the second game he came out a little bit slow, and I just kind of steamrolled him, where I just like curved out really well, like 2/2 ooze for 2, and then I had like 2 Danathas. I almost always played Danatha Caption on turn 3 on every game.
Nice.
And that was nice enough, and then I'd go 4 into like one of the 4/4s, which Baloth Gorger. I had 2 of those, and so it's like
which one is that?
It's a 4/4 for a 2 green, 2 colorless, and you could kick it for 4 to turn it into a 7/7.
Oh, nice. Did you ever get it to a 7/7?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I was able to do that, and like. They just some of the kicker cards were really good in green, and so I felt like if I was going on curve, it was pretty hard to stop me.
Yeah. So you won the second game, won the third game.
Well, yeah, and the funnest part about that one was where I had Song of Prerelease out, and so I never used the tapping for like it's a saga that. When it comes into play, all your creatures can tap for any mana. Next up, keep. It says all your creatures can tap for any mana. And then on the third one, you sacrifice it, and then all of your creatures get a 1/1 counter. They're vigilant, trample, indestructible.
For that turn.
But
they get the 1/1 counter. Yeah, that's the one card we talked about last week.
Yeah, and so like I just thought it was really bad in my deck, and then all of a sudden I was like, that's how I get through. But I just have to wait forever. And then I attacked, got him down a whole ton, but they have vigilance, so he couldn't like crack back.
Nice.
And then I Nature Spiral, brought it back and played it that same turn. So I was doing it again 2 more turns later, and I just
overran him.
Just overran him. Like,
nice.
yeah, he couldn't crack back, and then I was able to just kind of take it down from there.
Nice.
So otherwise, it was a really
good match.
Fun matches.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you go into your third match, is where you get your first loss.
This is where I lost. It was actually this guy. I 1-2'd. So he was playing a red-green deck, but pretty similar idea to mine. So he had a lot of green, like creatures, very similar. Like I'd play ooze, he'd play an ooze, and we did that 2 games in a row. And it was just kind of
you guys are just duplicates.
Yeah, and
nice.
My problem was that he had like some of the tricks, so he was able to pump it if we were trading, and then I'd be like, well, I'm out.
Yeah.
And he has more resources on the board, and so he was able to attrition me out that way for like 2 games. The funnest part out of those games was the first one for me.
Because you won.
Yeah, because I won. But he was going to kill me, so he kicked a red dude that stole my Grun.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, I'm going to all-out attack you, and you're going to die. And I played the
Sapperling dude?
Yeah, the instant Sapperling, Spore Swarm. And it got me 3 1/1s, and I was able to block enough to go down to 2. And then he was at like 6.
So you got your dude.
And so
back.
I got Grun back. He was tapped out, and I just went,
nice. No,
you're dead. Yeah.
That's nice.
And he's like, I didn't think you were going to have that cool trick. And I was like, it's the only trick I have. Because everything else was just like creatures on curve. It was like the only instant in my deck.
Nice.
So what was your third game like?
Third game. So that was the first loss.
Or match. Yeah, third match.
Or third match, yeah. That was the first loss I got. The very first game. I got mono-screwed, and then I did actually take a mulligan. So then I went down to 6, had 1 land, and I didn't want to go down to 5. So I was like, screw it. Top card, the card I had in my hand was Plains. Top card was a Plains, and I didn't get another swamp, so he killed me by turn 4 or 5. But he was playing fungus. Yeah. I think he was playing green-red. And then the next game, he got mono-screwed, but he only had to go down to 6. But it didn't affect him like it affected my game, like I was dead. Played my thing. Every game I won, I think, on Sarah's wings made me win. Like, because no one had flyer defense that I played.
Yeah, like the only, I had that like Pierce the Sky, which was a sorcery, green, colorless, and deals 7 damage to target flying creature.
Yeah, so that's...
and that saved me in a couple of games, but like...
Flyers seemed to be the thing that people couldn't stop, and that was mainly what my stuff was. Not all my stuff, but given the stuff flying, it was my game winner, and so I'd have that. So then the next 2 games I rolled him. They weren't like notable at all. None of my games were, except for my last game, the kid that I played in the finals or whatever.
He was playing a black-white deck.
Same deck as me. First game he rolled me. I didn't put up much of a fight. Everything was working for him. He had a lot of removal. So I was actually pretty
that's
nervous.
The biggest thing about like in limited, like the more removal the better, and then you drop a bomb and win. Yeah,
so I only have 4 removal in the deck, but the second game, that's when he got me down to 4, and I got
on Sarah's wings.
On Sarah's wings, and I just went over the top of him and started gaining it all back. And it wasn't Icy Manipulator was the 5th or the 3rd game where I tapped him out, and then he just had to keep sacking his
I didn't see Icy at all. Yeah. I didn't get it. I never saw it. It just...
Yeah, the very first match and the last match were the ones that I had. I had Icy, and my opponent had Icy in the first match. But yeah, I knew it was going to be good because it taps out whatever you want, and so I was tapping out his guy, and then his guy was making him sacrifice 6 creatures. So
and that was in that. Okay, so that was the match that happened.
Yeah, so that was the last game, and so it was a we probably went 12 turns because I was stalling him out, gaining my life back because he got me down to 4, and he was up there. He was freaking, I don't know, he's at 30 or something. So it took me a long time to get him down, and then he kept getting that saga that I lose 2 life, he gains 2 life, and then the last one he does the half-life. Oh, yeah, that's how he beat me the first game.
I'm not even sure on that one, yeah.
So the first and second of that saga, it's the black saga. I lose 2 life, the opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. On the third one, you lose half your life, but you make a creature that's that power.
Oh, really?
So in the first game, he made an 11/11.
Oh, jeez.
And then he gave it on Sarah's wings and flew over the top and killed him.
That's good play.
Yeah. So on Sarah's wings was the big thing for me for the games that I played. Mark said, though, what's the card that he kept going against? The green...
Multani?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark says so he played a total of 10 games, and he saw Multani 5 times today, and that was just today. I don't know what he was talking about Friday night.
No, I don't think he didn't talk about Friday, but yeah, he did well on Friday. He said he went 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, so that's really good.
Yeah.
And then you finished up with what?
Wins, I was 2-0 on a kid that he just, an older kid, but he just got mana screwed 2 times in a row.
That sucks. I
wish it was a lot easier to not get mana screwed or flooded too. I was flooding out like crazy.
That was my first. Yeah, I said,
I was only playing. I generally play in between 16 to 18 lands, depending on what my curve is, and then I was just playing 17. And I had 11 land in one game, and I was just like, what the heck is going on?
That last game I won, I counted I had 14 of my 17 land out. And that wasn't even one where I got necessarily flooded. That first game I had 15 of my 17 land. It was insane.
You need to learn how to shuffle. I do too. I was just complaining about it, so I will also learn how to shuffle.
That's the worst part about it is when you get mono screwed or mono flooded.
Yeah.
So you 2-0'd them though?
Yeah, 2-0. Yeah, we played another one, and then that was a little bit closer, but just for fun. Yeah, nice. I still won that one.
Sweet. Well, yeah. Overall,
the one card that I thought was super fun though, that like nothing super interesting happened from it because it was off and on. It was just I saw it a lot, and people around me were just like Traxos and Scourge of Crude.
Yeah.
And I had one. Mark had one. It was just like every time you played it, it scared the crap out of whoever you were against. And I know when I saw it, I went, "Oh."
Yep, Mark and I played a side match just in between one of the games, and he busted that out. And I was like, "Nope, remove it.
Yeah,
get that out of here."
And I had it. And I probably was able to deal about 21 damage over the course of the 4 matches.
Nice.
And it's just like he's just so big. And people are just like, well, I can block with a 2/2, but there's no point. I'm still going to take 5 damage. And, like, it's just so huge.
Yeah.
And I really only untapped it, like, 4 times. And so people, because, like, it's just hard enough to have enough historic
with the trample
things.
And all that stuff,
but, yeah, 7/7 trample for 4, and it just comes into play tapped. If you play a historic spell, it untaps.
Yeah.
I had one player, I can't remember which one, but they had a Traxos, and then they just untapped him and left him there. I couldn't get around that either. I was just like, man, if he was more aggressive with it, I probably would have died then. Yeah. But like, I also couldn't deal any damage until I think I got some removal, like destroy target enchantment or whatever.
Nice.
So, but
enchantment that wouldn't do anything.
Artifact. Whatever.
I got to destroy enchantment, and I destroyed Saga, and that he just forfeited at that point. So yeah, I mean, overall, is there anything else that stood out? You had Weatherlight, I had Weatherlight. I got through once. It got me, and when we talked about that, it didn't really affect my game at all. I would say one of the cool sagas was the white one, Triumph of Gerard.
Yeah, what's that one do?
So 1 and 2 of the saga gives a 1/1 counter on target creature with the greatest power. And then when you get to the third one, target creature you control with the greatest power gains flying, first strike, lifelink until end of turn.
That's a lot of keywords.
Yeah. And it was only 2 to come out. So, I mean, that was pretty interesting. The Drudge Sentinels helped me a little bit. With
yeah.
They're 2/1, and it's a skeleton warrior. More for they turn into indestructible. You can tap 3 and tap
mana,
it.
Yeah.
And then I did win the side one with Mark, my 5/5 Golem with Trample. I gave him +2/+2 and first strike.
Oh, that's pretty good too.
But yeah,
I think I played History of Benalia once, and it just made the 2 tokens, and then I won the game. So like I didn't really get to play with it a whole ton, and I didn't have enough knight support for like the ultimate, I guess, the third saga part of it. And
what does that do? The third part?
It gives knights you control get +2/+1 until end of turn.
Oh, okay.
So like I only had the 2 knights that would be created from this, and then Daneth the Caption is a knight. And so other than that, like at best I could have 3 knights on
for 4, right? 3 to get 2 knights.
Sure,
that's pretty
over
good.
A period of time. Yeah. So yeah, it worked ish.
Sagas were interesting.
Did you ever see like a legendary sorcery? I know you said you didn't play the 2 that you had.
No one I played had.
I didn't see a legendary sorcery either.
Yeah, I mean that's just a little tough. I think I could have played with it, but I'm glad I didn't. It's just it was too much, and it counted on too much stuff. Oh, one thing we did find out weird with this though is that some packs you open, you don't have a rare in them.
Yeah,
I opened 2 packs that did not have a rare.
So yeah, you went 4-0, so you won 8 packs and you opened them, and there
out
were
of the 8, 2 of the packs did not have a freaking rare in it.
And me going 3-1, I won 4 packs, and 2 of mine didn't have rares in them either.
So 50%.
Yeah. I still got a bunch of cards that I like wanted.
Too, right?
He only won 1 pack, and he didn't get a rare.
But I thought he picked.
No.
That must have been in his set then.
Might have been. Yeah, because he picked Eighth of Revolt. So, yeah, you're right. He didn't win Dominaria. Yeah, I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
He might have just... Because I feel like I got all the rares.
Yeah, I got all the rares in the
pre-release pack
stuff, so I don't know. Oh yeah, because they said if you didn't have the pre-release stuff, you were supposed to bring it back.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that pretty much rounds up. So that was interesting though that some of the packs. I'm very curious what happens with their Battle of the Boxes.
Battle of the Boxes. That would suck to get like a bunch of packs without rares in them.
Yeah, I don't know if it totals up, I might be like,
it's not Battle Boxes.
Sorry.
What are you doing to me?
Dueling Boxes.
Do we want to change the name of it? I know that we like alliteration with the names of our things, so like it should be Battle Box technically. The way pre-release preview
with a capital P. Anyways, let's move on to segment 2. So what we're going to talk about is the Masterpiece stuff. Zendikar Expeditions. We're also going to talk about the Masterpiece series from Kaladesh Inventions, and also Amonkhet Invocations. But I think how we're first going to start it off is we're going to start with the earliest,
the first ones that were printed. Zendikar Expedition.
In Expeditions. Now, the only reason we're kind of talking about this is, like we talked about earlier, these are getting bought up. Not just the Expeditions. Actually, the first ones that are being targeted right now is the Kaladesh ones.
The Kaladesh Inventions.
Because they kind of are the most usable ones.
I mean, I don't know if this matters towards what you're buying, but they're gorgeous. Every single one of them is really like the art.
That's my monocrypt is from that one.
Yeah.
And I wanted that one out of all the different. There's so many different art for monocrypt, even though it was never in a set until the Masterpiece stuff. But that's the one that I wanted.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one thing that was interesting that one of the podcasts I listened to, it's called MTG Fast Finance. These guys are pretty good at doing the specs and all that stuff. But they were talking this week. One of the guys broke it down. Now they don't give.
Yeah, they don't. Wizards doesn't tell you how much product was sold.
Yeah.
So we don't get any idea of how many boxes are sold, how much product is being
run and all
that.
Yeah,
we don't.
Do they tell a print run?
We might know the print run.
But so, anyways, he broke it down and he said he's done the calculations. So his other other host on the show was questioning him on this, but he's like, no, I broke this down. I guess he could figure out how much Magic sells in a year, and he broke down each set. And then he broke down the amount of each one or whatever. And to his calculations, he came up with each Masterpiece series. There's only about 5,000 to 10,000 copies of each.
Now, which is extremely rare.
Yeah, and this is kind of like the known fact with it is 1 out of every 4 boxes
you'll get
a Masterpiece.
One Masterpiece from the sets that they were in, which would be Battle for Zendikar block or Kaladesh block or Amonkhet block, and then they stopped it after Amonkhet block.
And so then they got into a discussion. They had another guy on that was talking about it's one of the top collectors in the United States, and he's selling part of his collection for $350,000. So they all got in this.
No big deal. Yeah. I'm just gonna go buy a house with my Magic cards.
That's actually what he's doing. He's selling his stuff because he's gonna go build a house or buy a house or something like that. But anyways. They got in a discussion about how the Masterpiece series, all this stuff, it's like a modern day reserve list. So the dual
because they're so rare and hard to get, but
they're not going to print them again.
And they're not. You're not going to get another printing of it.
You'll get that card, but like for example, when we talk about Zendikar Expeditions here, the Expedition foils. But you won't get that design ever again. They're never going to have that design. So they were comparing that to the dual lands. Now, the dual lands, I don't know where he came up with this number, but said there's probably about 300,000 dual lands out.
Per dual land?
Yeah.
Original dual land? Because, it could be because there was a printing in Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, and Revised. So it could be 4 different printings, and then he's adding them all together.
Yeah. So those, you go with... Underground Sea is over $300. All the dual lands are about what, $100 or so?
Yeah, I believe all of them are at least over $100 revised, which is the cheapest way of doing it.
That's the ones that we have. You have.
I have unlimited Badlands.
Yep, and I have the same. I think unlimited.
You have unlimited Plateau.
That's right, Plateau. But anyways, so they got into discussion about how that's why they're getting bought up. And so then Larry and I kind of were talking and we're like, we should probably talk about this this episode because recently they're just getting bought up everywhere, and there isn't a big supply of them. So
yeah, and this one's gonna be a little tougher for me to like. I'm gonna just complain about prices because they're quite expensive.
Yeah. Just to give you an idea, so we'll start it off with
the Zendikar Expeditions.
So the most expensive ones are your fetch lands, which are the ones where when it comes into play, you can tap and pay 1 life and go look for, and it's not a basic land, it's look for a dual land, not a dual, but a island in a swamp.
Yeah, so Polluted Delta is going to be a swamp or an island, like you're saying.
Yeah, so Polluted Delta is the one that's the most expensive, and it's at $350 right now.
Yeah, and the reason why it's hard for me to go out and, like, I understand the whole rarity thing, but, like, but Polluted Delta you can get for under 50, easy. You know, I didn't even go and check what it is, but I'm pretty sure you can get a Polluted Delta for under 30, actually.
Let's see, 18.
18. Under 20.
Yeah, so you can get a regular one without foil, but that's the thing is, it's the collector's part.
Yeah, it's the collector's part.
Crazy because
it's just,
and a lot of your Commander players are foil players, and a lot of them are collectors because you only need one of these. To go off of this, we're not saying go get these. We're just kind of talking about
making you aware of it.
If you wanted it for your collection, these may be that most likely are going to just keep going up
because they're just so rare.
Yeah. All the fetches, we grouped those all in one. I actually bought 2 to try to see if I can turn them, but I bought the 2 bottom ones.
Which ones were those?
I picked up Wooded Foothills for about 120. And then I picked up Arid Mesa for about 115.
Okay.
From when I bought it, Wooded Foothills is up, I think, $5 from when I bought it. And
one reason why I didn't go after, so I traded for a Flooded Grove, which is the green-blue filter land. And I didn't go after anymore. Like I think I traded a Zendikar's Scalding Tarn for it.
Yeah.
Which technically wasn't a good trade at this point, but I mean money wise. But what we're believing is that these will go up a little bit because of the rarity. But like my Flooded Grove was just like dark and kind of discombobulated. Like it didn't interest me in getting any more.
Yeah.
When it came to that one specifically.
It's a completely different design. They're full art, which is pretty sweet. And that's kind of the cool thing to me with these.
And you just received your fetches right now, and you're saying that you thought they looked really good.
I think they look pretty sharp.
Okay.
Like, these suckers are shiny as hell. Like, I don't know if they...
Yeah.
The printing of it is... I don't know. It just... They actually looked pretty good. I'm going to sell the fetches, but... the ones that I will keep one of, let's work down the list a little bit. So then our next tier is what? Our Shocklands.
Yeah, Shocklands are used, they're your cheaper version of your dual lands. They're probably the next best lands that you can have after the original duels.
Yeah, everybody should have those. I mean, if you can't afford the duels, totally understandable, but...
You should go get the Shocklands from Return to Ravnica.
Yeah, not from this set necessarily. They're already up there in price. They're over 150 for Overgrown Tomb, and that was to give you an idea too. When I was talking about the other fetch, the Overgrown Tomb was $70 a month or so ago. Not even a month ago. Actually, a couple weeks ago, and now it's 150. So
things are they're just like exploding once people are realizing how rare they are, and people are willing to go out of the way.
That Polluted Delta I was talking about was the same thing. It was $200 a little less than a month ago, and now it's $350. But so the Shocklands, I feel like we're kind of late on that as well. There's a couple other random ones in there. You got Wasteland, which is already up there.
Like I feel like Monoconfluence is way overpriced there. It was just printed in Theros. Like I'm gonna be the Debbie Downer on this because I just feel like I feel like some of these cards are just way too expensive.
But it's the collector part is what and that's the thing is these are one of the rarer things that they've printed off in a long time. Like the rarity of how they come in, it's doesn't go off of it's a rare or a mythic card. It's just the fact of finding these. So your next level is your Shocklands, and then you get into the
filter lands.
Which that's the one that Lowry has.
And these were just printed in Masters 25. We talked about these a bit too.
Yeah.
Well, they have all 10 of them on the
this.
Expeditions one. There's only the 5 printed in Masters 25, but it's something that we've recently talked about.
So some of those are actually worth noting if you wanted to go after those. The black red one, Graven Cast. Yep, that one's about $30 right now. So what I actually invested in is I went for, what did we figure out we called these guys?
A Battlelands from Battle for Zendikar.
So they are also your dual lands where they count as a mountain or a forest for your Cinderglade.
Yeah.
But what they do is when they enter the battlefield, they come into play tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. So this is kind of good for your 2-color decks mostly.
You know what? And I've
or 3-color.
I actually do like these for Commander, or like as long as you have enough basic lands. And generally, I run about 12 basic lands in every Commander deck. So these work perfectly almost all the time.
Yeah, and they're used in roughly for each one. So there's 5 of these as well in 15,000 EDH decks.
Yeah, so they're used quite a bit. And these ones at the Expedition, did you say they're like $30?
Yeah,
they're like $30.
So I was getting them on average. I got 5 of each for about 20. I got some for $17, and I got some as high as $27.
Yeah, because Smoldering March, which is black-red, that'd be Swamp Mountain is roughly $22.
Yeah, so those are the only ones that I really spec'd on because I was like, well, they're cheap, but they're actually used a ton in EDH.
Yeah,
and
I actually when I build modern decks, generally I'm able to fit in like at least one of them in that color.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just not used in modern right now, but if it catches on, people can figure out like, you know what, we can use this and not just die to shock lands either. So it could give a little bit of balance and maybe get up to the prevalency in modern as the shock lands.
So out of this the Expeditions, these are the ones that I would say if you're looking to try to make some money off of, go for these.
They have the best potential.
Because, I would agree with that. Because they're cheap. I mean, that is a big part of it. But these are actually used. I mean, I could have said
they're fetchable duels.
I could say go for Teutonic Edge, but no, I don't think. I just this is used so much in EDH that I think it's a win-win with this. And even if they only go up to 50, hey, I double up my money. You know, it's not. I'm hoping they hit 100 and that'll be good. They'll sell my 4.
That's good hope.
Keep my 1 and it'd be good there. So that's.
But I would agree. Like that seems like the best value pick.
Yeah.
To be able to make a little bit of
and
money,
where you're not
or just
really break. I mean, that's expensive. That's $25 a card.
Well, if you're just going to go out and get one of each, you're not going to feel. I mean, it's still $150 if you're going to go out and get, or maybe not that much, in between $100 and $150 for 5 of them.
Yeah.
When you could really be spending $3 on the original copies of it. But again, these things are so rare that it's just kind of like it pushes.
These, I would say, though, are a hold for. They might take a little bit longer. The top end with those fetches, those are the ones that are going right away. These might take a little bit longer.
Fetches are used everywhere. Yeah, everywhere that you can play them, they're played.
Yeah, so. But yeah, that's it for the Expeditions. We'll move on to the next one, which this is the one that's been targeted the most right now because, like Lowry said earlier, these cards are gorgeous.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. The art on them, it was perfect.
So a lot of these, every one of them is artifacts.
Yeah, and that's Kaladesh was kind of an artifact themed set, and so the masterpieces are kind of focused around what the set was doing. So Zendikar was a land heavy set, and that's why it was all based on lands. Kaladesh here is going to be all based on artifacts.
Yeah. So the biggest seller is the most used card in Commander,
Sol Ring.
And that card you used to be able to. Now I've heard some people saying they were picking these up a few years ago when it came out and everything for about $80. This sucker is sitting at $387 right now. So I mean, not too long ago it was at $277. So you've got about $100, $110 jump just in the last month.
So yeah, and that's where we're talking about like things are pretty crazy with the inventions here.
Now again, we're not saying invest in these, but if you want your masterpiece Sol Ring, and that's what that same podcast I was talking about. the dude was thinking it was going to jump up
even more.
Well, he thinks it's going to be easily a $500 card. Jeez. And potentially within the next 5 years, $1,000 card. Just
really?
Because of how often this is used, what it's used in, and how limited supply. The demand for Soul Ring is so high. He said this was the main one out of all these, all the Masterpiece series. This is the one because there isn't that many out there. Now, when you say, 5 to 10,000, even 10,000, that isn't a lot of copies to be.
Yeah, we're talking about, on EDH Rec, I think Soul Ring's in every deck.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's the most used card.
I think I have one deck that I didn't put it in. I don't remember why I didn't put it in. It probably was a bad idea. Yeah, exactly. It was probably a bad idea not to put it in there, but I think I do have one deck that does not have it in there. Pulling it up right now on EDH Rec. That didn't pull it up. That's Soul Ring.
They're probably like, why would you look this up? Of course it's used. Don't worry about it.
188,000 decks.
Which is more than the 10,000 that they believe was printed for the Masterpieces.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Just saying.
So, yeah, with this whole set, what are some ones that you think are worth noting? I picked up a Monocrypt way back when it came out because this was the one that I wanted out of the couple printings of Monocrypt. I got mine for $120 and it's at $362 right now.
That was a nice buy. So I think.
Oh, one other note: neighbor Mike opened up a pack just recently.
Mox Opal. Yeah.
That's at $340 right now. And then he followed it up by they were doing a celebratory pack opening because they got Mox Opal and they opened up Avacyn Restored and got.
Cavern of Souls foil. Yeah, freaking ridiculous day.
It's like you have a $500 day right there in 2 packs.
That's not bad. Insane. Why go to work if you're going to do that?
Exactly. That should be your job, just opening packs. But yeah, what are your thoughts on some of these?
There were about 3 cards that I felt like I would probably sit down and buy. So one of them is Trinisphere.
Okay. Yep.
So that's a 3-mana artifact, and that basically makes all spells under 3 mana cost 3 mana.
So you're willing to drop $90 on that bad boy?
It's a $30. Well, that's my point. Is like I'm looking at the value, and I'm just going. It's a $30 card, and you can buy this for roughly $90, and so it has the most room to go up because it is a used card, and it is it's used in stacks, and it just kind of jumped recently. Without in Darksteel. So in my mind, there's room for this one to move up a little bit more as well.
Yeah, and yeah,
because you're talking about cards that are used that are, 10, 15 times the amount that it's worth. Trinisphere isn't that good of a card. It's not a fetch land good, but it's a used card, and so I can see it being 5 times its original worth. Yeah. I can easily see it being like a $150 card.
Yeah.
Off of these inventions.
Well, yeah, and like you said, the Darksteel one it's at $73, so you're not
for the
far.
Foil.
Yeah, for the foil of that, and these are all foil, by the way. If we didn't mention that before,
yeah, they're all foil.
These masterpieces are foil. So, yeah, I can see what you're saying there.
What ones were you?
Oh,
do you know?
I don't even know. No, I don't know. Like right. I went after the expeditions because I felt like the main stuff was taken from the Masterpiece series of the ones that I would go after. I would go after the top stuff. I don't know. Was there? Tell me some more of your notes.
I have 3 others that I was thinking that had potential. Staff of Domination. That's it's $85.
Yep.
But it's if I'm remembering right, it's like a $25 card non-foil, and
yep.
It was
funny $40 for foil. So yeah, it's not.
So I feel like it has potential. It's basically only used to do broken things like just combo out and win in Commander, and it is a very used card in Commander. So the difference between its regular price and what it's at on the inventions, I feel like is pretty low.
So do you feel like anything with the lower stuff, like your Black Vice or the Gear Hulks, I'm not too fond of, I don't think.
See, and I would agree with that. The Gear Hulks aren't nearly as potential wise, but I do think the Torrential Gearhulk
is always
the
good.
blue one has some potential.
I do like that one.
It's just the 6 mana Snapcaster Mage pretty much for free, but and that card was up to $20-$30 in standard.
Yeah.
Once it rotates, that card's going to be purchasable.
Man. Grindstone you could have picked up about a month ago for $30, whereas if you get the original Grindstone, it's at $30. Oh no, that's what I'm looking at. What am I talking about?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's at there
$9.
isn't a foil. Never mind, there isn't even a foil print into that one either.
So the thing, actually, Grindstone was on my notes as well because that was part of a legacy deck with Imperial Recruiter that was just reprinted in Masters 25.
Yeah,
and then that combos Grindstone combos with Painter Servant. So with the printing of Imperial Recruiter and Masters 25, I can see people playing that deck more, which would make Grindstone more popular. And so maybe the only problem is like how popular is Legacy compared to Modern or Standard or Commander or whatever. Yeah. And so if it does well in a tournament, obviously just about every card that has potential. Grindstone used to be a $20 card. Now it's $10 because it's not a very popular deck.
Yeah.
But I can see it becoming, if it does become a popular deck, I can see the inventions of Grindstone going up.
What about the swords? The swords, we have our Sword of Fire and Ice is over 100.
Anything playable is over 100, and it's just tough for me to spend that kind of money.
See, I don't think I'm going to go after Kaladesh Inventions. I mean, go after it if you want it for your collection.
A lot of them have already gone up big time, and so it's a little hard to say, hey, go out and buy these cards because they've already gone up.
Yeah. The only ones I would say you'd go after are bottom ones, or what Lowry was saying there. But I don't say go after the Gear Hulks unless it's Torrential Gear Hulk. And Torrential is at 50. So
yeah, and I would wait until after rotation because demand would even be lower for it.
Yeah. So
depending on how popular, it's hard to tell when it comes to non-rational things. It's really hard to. These are for collectors. Great, but who's collecting?
Yeah,
you're talking about a dude is going to spend $350,000 selling it. You're just like, wow, that guy's just
way
over my head.
Yeah, I know.
When it comes to that stuff.
Well, he was the one that was talking about when he sells. He's bought out things he thinks is a good card and makes basically the market jump because he buys it out.
He's the Warren Buffett of Magic cards. Just buys out a stock to make it jump on perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I mean, that's it for the Kaladesh stuff. I don't think I'm getting anything. I feel like we're kind of late to the party on that one.
I would agree with that as well.
Because the ones I would want to go after are, I already got my Monocrypt, but Soul Ring would have been sweet. Mox Opal, Monovault, Ensnaring Bridge, Aether Vial. Oh man, Crucible Worlds.
There's a lot of great cards.
Arcbound, you got the Sword of Fire and Ice.
Feast and Famine.
Wormcoil Engine would have been sweet. I like the art on that. These cards just look gorgeous.
Yeah, at the very least, I'll definitely tag or hyperlink it. You should be able to check out the list. I'll probably hyperlink it to the one we're looking at.
Yeah. Then we go from there to the most beautiful looking cards to the ugliest masterpiece.
Okay. Yeah, we semi agree on this. It's just. I wouldn't say that it's ugly, but it's just you
can't read crap on it. You don't.
The words are really different. They're
trying to make it really hieroglyphics. Something
like hieroglyphics. I was gonna say Egyptian, but
they're trying to make it so you're
probably not right.
Trying to determine what it says, and it's just ugh.
It's hard to the top one is Blood Moon at $200 along with Force of Will at $200. But it just goes across. It says Blood Moon, and you can kind of read it. The spacing's really tough to tell if it's one word or two. And then, it's two colorless and a red mana, but the red mana's also colorless.
Yeah,
it's just a one kind of blank or beige with some black scratches on the top of it.
And not until recently did I even realize that they showed a color on the cards by the edges. They have, like, if it's red, they have like these little red stripes, but it's just a really narrow band going along the card. So I was the only one that pulled one of these in our boxes.
You got a Loyal Retainers back when we bought a piece of Amonkhet.
And I couldn't tell you what kind of creature. Like
you were like,
I don't even know what this is. I can't read it. So these aren't being targeted necessarily. I mean, no, I think they are still being targeted, but they're not being hit like the other ones. So your top card went from $125.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was $125.
Okay. You said $125.
That's what I meant, like $125.
Yeah,
$125.
I don't speak your
I
McDonald's lingo.
Sorry, $125 to $200. Yeah, that would have been crazy. It went from $1.25 to $200. So many people are rich right now. So it did have a jump when everything else jumped, but I think what people are doing there is going, all right, the Kaladesh Inventions went up. We got to buy the top ones of every other one. So
yeah, and that could be it. Like Blood Moon is used a whole ton. It's a modern staple.
But you look at Force of Will, and it's been close to 200. I mean, it was at $170.
It's foil. It just the cards are just kind of weird. They're templated weird. So like all of the words, like if it's counter target spell, it's just centered on the card.
Yeah.
And it looks like the sides are pillars where you were talking about the color being. One thing that you don't really realize when you're looking at Magic cards is they really actually focus on, like, is this going to be a green card? I want to make sure that the coloring in the picture is green.
Yeah.
And so it represents a green card. Yeah. Purple normally represents like black because it's hard. You don't want a card to be too black.
Yeah.
And they talk about this stuff on like podcasts, like actual wizards, like.
And these don't look like that.
Yeah, it's hard to actually
looks
tell.
Exactly the same, like.
It's the same
bland,
coloring and Egyptian and desert like. I would probably go.
They all look like they should be yellow cards. You know,
PP cards.
Don't
Not quite.
start peeing.
So here it's kind of going like, okay, they have some very used cards, but the theme isn't super focused because what are invocations?
Yeah.
Actually, I probably should have looked up the word before
because then you're gonna get. If there were more people listening, they're gonna give you comments.
But it doesn't feel like there's a focus in what's going on. It just feels like, okay, I think this could set up in a desert style realm.
Yeah,
like Blood Moon, or
it just seems like
Force of Will, like
cards that are used kind of often in all different formats. Doesn't it kind of seem like that? I mean, you got Force of Will, you got Blood Moon, which is used in quite a bit of things. Force of Will is used in modern. No, not modern. It's used in Legacy.
And Vintage.
What would Daze? Daze is in Legacy as well.
Yeah. Daze is a hugely used card as well.
Omniscience would be Commander.
Omniscience.
Omniscience. Every time I see it,
what do you think we're at the Omni Theater?
And that's how in my head, with my dyslexia crap, that's how I always read that card is Omniscience.
You need to take a theology class.
Thoughtseize, you got Modern. So, I mean, these are your top cards that I'm reading off.
Well, one of the things though, about the modern, invocations here was like
standard.
Okay, going back all the way, like I think one of the reasons why this kind of failed, I don't know, it failed as an idea in my mind because it was so rare.
Yeah,
it's so rare that I don't even want them because they're too hard to get. Yeah. I can't trade for them. I don't want to spend again that price difference between am I going to spend $100 on a $10 card? That's hard to justify.
Yeah.
It's already hard to tell my wife I spent $10 on a piece of cardboard. Yeah. So no, I bought this one for $100. Don't worry about it, hon. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I got this one. I could have got this one. It was $500.
Yeah,
be happy.
Yeah, that's some good psychology going on there. But I think in the Invocations one, they also used a lot more bad cards.
Yeah.
Not necessarily super big staples.
Yeah.
Just looking here. Well, Doomsday is a combo card, but it's not used a whole time.
I'm just sorry, it went along with what you were saying, but I'm going down the list and I'm like,
That's the card I was at when you
got
amazing. Loyal Retainers.
I'm going from the bottom up, like Divert. That's one of the few cards I couldn't just name off the top of my head. Is that good enough to be in a Masterpiece series? Probably not. But I
think what happened is they kind of ran out of
the cards. They're like, oh, whoa, actually, we need to slow down here.
Well, then they can't, because when they first announced that they were doing the expedition or the Masterpiece stuff, they're like, every set is going to have
forward.
Moving forward. And then they got here and they're like, shit, we ran out of stuff to freaking print. Never mind, we're taking that back. We are done with doing that. And
I can understand why you would do like kind of a bigger selection with the expeditions, because you want to complete cycles of all the fetches, all the shocklands, all the filters. That makes sense to me. The problem is they did 54 inventions, 54 invocations, and you're out of just 3 sets or 3 blocks, you're talking about just under 150 cards that are special, and you're only getting so many of them. It's kind of like, why not choose half that many? You're still kind of promoting the newer cards like the Gear Hulks or whatever. You're able to get your 5 in there, like the Battle Lands.
Yeah, you don't need a crap ton. You
just had to do, you could do 10 in one, 10 in the other, 12 and 12, and then maybe print them a a little more.
Yeah, because not one in every 4 boxes, maybe
one in every 4
3
boxes. Yeah. And that's all you have to do, and they would still be desirable.
And actually, then your count would be a bit higher than that 10,000 a card. And
then you add that by 30% roughly, and if you just added it to one more box average,
then you get a little bit better. I liked the idea of these.
It would have just been nice if they could have stretched it out for 5 years instead of a year and a half.
Yeah, exactly. If all these would have been done in 5 years, would have been okay. With 150 cards, different cards. But you would have been working with, like you said, each set would have had their 5, your Gear Hulks or your whatever's in that set at the time. Because the ones, the lands that I was talking about, those were the special ones in that set.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're in there.
And the Gear Hulks are cheapest in the Inventions as well.
And then the gods are in this one.
And the gods
are actually the more expensive ones in this.
But they also have they have 5 of the monocolored ones, and then they have the 3 multicolored ones. Scarab God, Locust God, and the Scorpion God. So, again, I'll start with Divert, Sunder, Boil, Desolation Angel. These cards are $1 in real life.
Avatar Woe.
I love that card. It's used a whole ton. Actually, I like that one a lot just because I like playing with Avatar Woe. But
Shatterstorm.
Yeah, Shatterstorm was used a bit in Modern, but it's just a little too slow for the modern day artifact decks.
I like the Attrition one, but
Actually, that would have been one of my specs. Would be Attrition.
Yeah, I like the way that looks.
Because it's a cheaper one. It was like an $8 card, and it's been kind of printed. I feel like it's used in EDH enough to be.
And that hasn't really jumped much, but like I said, there isn't a lot of these that have jumped at all. So actually, if you wanted to jump in on any of them that are used quite often, this would be the time to do it. I mean, Thoughtseize is $150 from the get-go, though.
Yeah.
This one is...
And Thoughtseize is the most used discard spell, just across the board, other than maybe, one more, but it's used a ton. And so that's why, if it's super rare and used a lot in different places, the card's just going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the only other card that I would probably maybe invest in is Lord of Extinction. And that's selling for $30 to $35. And non-invocation, non-foil, it's a $15 card. And so you're just talking about it's double the price. Along with where these are, I feel like that's one of the better value picks.
Yeah, I can see that. If you were to go after some of this. I mean, I'm going after the other stuff. Well, I already got what I wanted to get, so I'm actually probably not going to get any more of these, but if these stay low for a long time, but these will probably start getting bought up eventually.
I think these are going to be the least desirable out of the sets or out of the masterpieces. But again, it's just kind of It's hard to justify. Like, I mean, look at you have Diabolic Edict. This is like a common or uncommon from Tempest. You can get them for under $1, and they are.
Where is he? Diabolic Edict?
Yeah, it's like $47. Yeah. It's like that doesn't make a whole ton of sense. But again, you just go back to collectors, and there is a really big debate between collectors and like players.
I think the problem that this happened with this set too is not only how it looks, but you think of the first two, it's lands. Every deck, lands and artifacts, they're used in everything. Whereas these are specific colors and they're not
used in everything. So you started out, you blew your load right away, and then you're scrambling to fill the other holes.
That's Lowry's
wink, wink.
Masturbation sound. Not masturbation. It's if I describe that, it'd be a little dirty.
You're weird, dude.
Too bad we don't have the cameras.
Too bad.
So, anyways, I don't know. Overall, what do we think? We think the Kaladesh Inventions are kind of hard to get the ones that are really good in it, but there are some notable ones that, like Lowry mentioned, the ones that are pretty close to their actual price for the non-inventions. Yeah. These, I don't think you necessarily have to jump on board. Maybe go through and pick out ones that you kind of like if you want to. But I would stay with the Kaladesh, and there's some opportunity with the lower end of Kaladesh and the Expeditions.
I can see that. And really with... So let's say like the Invocations from Amonkhet are just as rare as the other two. Yeah. Let's say that. Are we saying that rarity is the driving factor on this?
Yeah, rarity and the foil factor.
And so the question ends up being like, just because the Invocations aren't necessarily as desirable as the other two, it's still rare. And so that might be where your best value is coming from.
Yeah.
Because it's not being picked on nearly as quickly as Expeditions.
The problem with these is so many people hate the way the cards are designed. Yeah. That's the hard part. The other ones, I know you were saying you don't like how the Expeditions seem dark, but then other podcasts I was listening to, I'm in the middle. I actually like, personally, the regular art. I didn't like...
how about this question? And I know this isn't something that we've talked about at all, but what is a more desirable full art land? Is it Unglued, Unhinged, or is it Zendikar and Battle for Zendikar?
For me?
Yeah.
For me, I loved freaking Unstable.
Yeah, Unstable was a really good
Unstable,
one too.
I like more than all the other lands.
Or Amonkhet, and like these.
But then second to that, I went after all the Battle for Zendikar, all those full art. I loved the way all that looked, and But
when you're doing that, they were 50 cents. But when you're talking about Unhinged or Unglued, they were already $4 to $8, and so it's like, well, I don't necessarily want that. In my opinion, the unlands are just gorgeous,
but they're also a lot more rare.
But they're just gorgeous. I'd much rather play with those if I'm picking.
I did not like the first one
with the more brown on it. I really like those too because they just look more unique than everything else.
They are very different. They just seem very like. I didn't like the art as much.
I can understand that, and that would probably be like, it's a preference thing, and so it's kind of like, okay.
But overall, don't we think Unstable lands
are gorgeous?
Are just amazing.
But
those are border to border, full art. That's your full art.
And so if you're gonna come down and do a comparison with just like the very basic of lands, we're willing to spend $4 or $5 on these better looking lands than just the boxes upon boxes of basic lands. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like, this is a huger jump. Well, it's a lot bigger jump here. You're talking about $150 for a $10 card.
Think of this though. I and Puka, to get rid of my points, I just traded away $250 worth of points.
Puka points for those lands.
Those lands for $10 a piece instead of the $4 a piece. And the islands I was getting for $15 a piece. And I was willing to just dump all that. Well, also I'm trying to dump my points from that.
And then you're dumping it because the economy on Puka has really kind of crumbled. So like $250 worth of cards. I have no idea what the value is, but technically $250 worth is, and let's say you just did it for $10 a piece, quote unquote, per card. So you got 25 lands when really they're $3 to $4. So really that $250 was worth $75. Mm-hmm. So really the economy on Puka, when it comes to that, is 30% of what it actually should be.
But to me, it was different because me and the unstable.
You were getting what you wanted.
The unstable lands, and so I didn't. I was willing to go over. Well over. And the cards I traded to Puka because of how the economy is with that was all junk anyways. To get my 250,000 point or 25,000.
$250 worth of points.
Let's just say it that way. To get to that, I was trading away all my commons and uncommons. Yeah. There was never anything that I wanted to get those points up there. So,
and I was just saying the Puka trade economy at this point is rotten.
Yeah,
like it's tough.
And you've been having good luck on Cardsphere lately. You've said
I've enjoyed Cardsphere. It seems really quick. I'm not being really aggressive on it, just
but
because
you're getting some good cards that we used to get on Puka.
Yeah, somebody just sent me a GP foil Gristlebrand, and then I got a Magus of the Moon coming as well in the same package. It's like, yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what Puka Trade used to be.
Yeah,
year and a half, 2 years ago.
No, so going back to what you were talking about, the masterpiece stuff. No, so what you're saying there is like
we can justify it off of basics.
Yeah. So why not with the regular lands? Is kind of what you're getting at with
a little bit.
Yeah. I mean that
it's such a bigger scale.
Yeah, but so, I mean I'm willing. I see what you're saying. Like you're making more of the point, emphasizing the point of why I went. Or, why these might go up. Right?
Yeah.
Then that makes sense. Because
I know that an invasion mountain is not going to do anything. Mm-hmm. To whereas an unhinged, which unstable is the new one. Unstable, you can get them for roughly $3. Let's say. You almost know that's going to be able to go up and hit at least double up to 6 to 7 cards or $7.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like you almost know that these Masterpiece Series cards are going to go up.
Yeah.
So how do you want to buy it? How do you want to invest in it? Do you want to just use it for fun? Make sure you have it in your collection, or
and also kind of, I guess it depends on what you have, what your funds are.
Yeah,
that's a big part
definitely.
of it. I mean, that was a hard thing for me to go after that. I had to dip into my own funds. I have normally my Magic cards that I sell, and then when that money goes up, I use that money to buy other cards. And this, I was like, I just feel like these are going to go quick. So I dipped into my own.
It was in your mind, it was worth dipping into your own funds that weren't necessarily related with your finances and Magic, because it was worth it because you are that sure of the cards going up and at least adding a percentage.
Yep. And then what I have a little note to myself next to my computer. You owe this back to your so you don't pay. So it's just to remind myself, you got to pay this back when you sell those cards, because that's pretty much what I'm going to do. Is I'm waiting for them to double, triple, quadruple up, and then dump them.
It's a good dream.
Not all of them though. I'm going to keep. Yeah. I like the way they look, so I'm going to keep one of each just to have for my collection. So
okay.
Good discussion though. This is we just discussed this out here. There was no
we had no idea what it was.
We knew kind of the basics of what we were going to talk about, but we didn't really.
Was there anything else in that podcast that you kind of listened to that was interesting? I feel like you kind of hit everything. I'm just trying to.
I mean those guys do a good job. If you guys like our podcast, when we talk finance, they also do a good job. Like I said, it was MTG Fast Finance. They're two good guys. They're Canadian guys, I think. There's a couple Canadian podcasts.
Well, they have a lot of time in the winter too.
So they do a good job, and they break down the specs pretty good. So
when you generally tell me about what they've talked about and how they did it, normally That makes sense. I just don't want to put in the time to do that.
Yeah. Well, that was
a lot more lazy than
the other guy was amazed with how much he broke that down. Like when he calculated all out for how many cards were made for each masterpiece, he's like, "What?" So I don't know. It was an interesting discussion. I mean, it made it so that to me, I was like, okay, I do know that the masterpieces were going off, but these are the ones I'm going after. I didn't go off of what they said to go after. They were saying go after Soul Ring and all that stuff. If you have
and
the
that's
funds.
just so rich for my blood.
Yeah,
I know
I couldn't. And the thing is I would go after the Soul Ring and I wouldn't want to sell that. You know, it'd be like, I would want to keep it.
Part of your collection. So, and that's the part of balancing collection versus investing versus just playing. And again, I know we've talked about this a little bit more. You sell, and so you're more willing to be able to sell these cards if they do go up.
Yeah.
My problem ends up being like if they do go up, I want to trade. Like what I do generally is I look for where I'm going to get the most growth or the better value out of my cards.
Yeah.
But again, like Force of Will is going to go up, but I'm not willing. I wasn't even willing to spend like $70 on a regular version. I don't know if I'm going to spend $200 on a invocation version.
The hard part, it's just like
it's not. I don't know. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I won't.
No, it kind of gets up there once you get into the fetch lands I went after. I bought one of those each, like I said, but I'm willing to sell those away. You know, it's I want the full. If I was going to keep it, I'd have to buy the full set, and I'm not going to spend that amount of money. You know, it's all about my not ADHD. It's obsessive compulsive. I don't have that, but if I only had two of them,
how many ticks do you have?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, if I had two of them, I could. You know, I'd have to have all 10. Okay, I can't just have the two.
Yeah.
So that would be a thing. But yeah.
If you have any questions, statements about this, chime in. I guess on Twitter.
Yeah. Any thoughts on maybe ones that you think we missed? Maybe you think that are.
Yeah. What do you think is a better value, or what do you think is going to go up and worth the purchase?
You could even leave comments too on YouTube or shoot us an email.
We're open to new ideas. We're experimental. We're all about it.
So
about it.
Oh yeah, we still haven't gotten a dang person to give us a dang song request.
Yeah, could you do that?
Come on, you SBs, give us a song request.
Do I know what I'm doing next week or 2 weeks from now?
A year. You know what I thought you had like 3 or 4 songs lined up.
Well, I used one of them last week.
Oh, okay.
And then I have one, but that's not going to happen until a certain card is reprinted. So I got that one's waiting.
What if it's never reprinted?
It will be.
Oh, now I'm gonna try to figure this out.
It's amazing. I don't have to change a word on it.
You're just gonna sing.
Super funny. Yeah,
that's easy.
Yeah,
you son of a bitch.
But it's gonna be funny. I think. I hope. I don't
know. Well, that should do it for episode number 10. We'll keep chugging along. Maybe.
We appreciate the listens.
Like I said, next week we'll have. Not Battle of the Boxes,
Dueling
Boxes.
Probably.
We don't know timing on that yet. It kind of depends
whenever
on
the box comes in. Yeah.
And so it'll either be before or after a podcast. We'll figure it out. But yeah.
And then in the meantime, we'll figure out what we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be more spoilers anyway?
Yeah, spoilers.
That'd be great.
Oh, well, no, let's not waste it. What if we talk about something else? I was going to say, we should talk about blah, blah, blah.
You can tell me afterwards. I have no idea. I'm out of ideas.
All right, well, that's. I think that does it because we are running pretty long on this. Holy crap!
What'd you do?
All right, well, we'll check you guys next week.
Kisses.
Smooches. Nice. I like it.